Up next, we have the next presentation by Mr. Lov Vashisht, Senior Sales Engineer, Netskope. So, as we call upon Mr. Lov Vashisht, ladies and gentlemen, I know, but we all are going to be here on stage, and let's just appreciate each one of us by our generous applauses once again. Thank you.
For the opportunity to speak here. Thank you for giving us this slot for presentation. So the main motive of this presentation is to address what is going on today and how we are addressing that, right? So two things that we do is protect people and data. And if you look at it, these are the two most critical assets, right? Users and data. Any threat that you talk about today, any hack attempt or any vulnerability that you talk about today is ultimately somewhere or the other pointed to data theft or data weakness. So if you look at this image, right, you will see what we have been believing and what we have been practicing, right? So there is a trusted zone, there is an untrusted zone. Whatever is inside the perimeter is trusted, whatever is outside the perimeter is untrusted. But that story is changing. And we'll talk about that and what are the points that we address here and what are the new challenges that we face in this story, right? So if you look at the word that we had yesterday or, maybe 2 years back, 5 years back, everything was hosted inside the data center, which is the trusted zone, all the crown jewels, all the applications. So whether it is a branch, whether it is a remote user, they have to come back to this, castle and then access the resources, which means even the internet access is based out of VPN, where users are backhauling their traffic, going to the internet, accessing their applications. And because it is kind of impossible or not feasible to replicate the entire stack of security that we have, the boxes here, which can be a firewall, a DLP, or a secure web gateway, or a CASB, things like that. But now the problem that you see is data is moving. Data is not in this castle anymore. So you have organizations moving to public clouds. You have organizations using applications like, Google Drive, O365, or, things like that. So what is happening is the data which used to be in this center or data center is actually with the user now. So every user has kind of become a branch. Every user has that sensitive data in their devices, and they are accessing resources which are out of this castle, out of this center of data, right? So all that has brought us a lot of flexibility and agility. If you consider the time that we spent during the pandemic, a lot of things have been possible only because we shifted the way we used to work, or we moved where and how we access the data, right? Now, with this flexibility, there also are some problems, right? The problems are that since users are everywhere, since data is everywhere, since applications are everywhere, and we have we are progressing into the digital transformation, which the topic is about. Again, because the data is distributed, it has become easier for a bad vector to target that data and attack and data theft. So if you look at it, every 11 seconds there's a threat. There's a data theft, or there's an advanced threat which is happening, right? And this is not only happening, I mean, these examples are some of the global examples, but if you look back, 6 months, 8 months, during the recent times, you will see a lot of attacks that have happened, a lot of data theft that has happened in India, right? In departments which are highly sensitive and highly important. So again, this problem relates with the flexibility. We've got the flexibility to work from anywhere. We've got the flexibility to access our resources or productivity applications anywhere. But then you also opened up the risk to threats and data theft, right? So if you look at it, we have transformed digitally, or at least we are in the progressive path of transforming digitally. But then security architecture is still being carried on with the same. Now, it is imperative that this digital transformation is also accompanied by a security transformation, because today the security is delivered to these data centers or these branch locations, But then the essential point is that you need to deliver this security to the users, wherever the users are, whatever device they are using. When they are accessing a data which is important, when they're accessing a resource which is important, it has to be, the security has to be consistent and consolidated to all the users, whether they are in branch, in head office, he's a roaming user, or he's working out of anywhere, right? So all the technologies that you see on the screen, right, it can be a secure web gateway, CASB, DLP, firewalls, SSL interception tools, etc. So the market is, or the whole trend is moving to consolidate all this, right? So when you see the perimeter is disappeared, applications have moved out, users have moved out, data has moved out, and then we should see the network and security converging. So there's a new, it's not very new, but 2 years back, I mean, you got security service edge as a kind of market segment where you have all these products consolidated into a single platform with the essential goal of delivering all these security services to the users, irrelevant of where the users are, where the data is. So just a recognition of this is done by Gartner, and in the last year's report, this year's report is about to come, but then Netskope is a leader, and I'll just explain what all we do in this space and how we ease the traffic, the data and security paradigm. So if you look at the bottom of that slide on the right hand side, you'll see the source of the data, which can be a head office, a remote user, a unmanaged device like a mobile phone or a tablet, or it can be a IoT device as well. And on the top of that side, you see two distinct clouds, destinations which are external apps. They can be on the internet. It can be a website, static website, or an application like Teams, which we use for meeting, or Drive, or OneDrive, etc. And then the second destination the users access is the private resources. Now those private resources can also be hosted in a private on-prem data center, or like we see rapidly, some organizations and departments are also adopting cloud service providers or public clouds to host their important applications. So the SSE platform or Netskope becomes a center point between the user and the destination, whether it is on the internet or on the intranet inside your data center. It's a single platform, single administration, and single user agent for all these functionalities. We combine, starting from basic functionalities like secure web gateway, where you control URL filtering and categories, right? Now, when we talk about applications, it has moved from a static allow block approach to more of a granular activity-based approach. Now, let's imagine you access, Microsoft Teams, you are meeting with a third party, and on a chat message, you post something sensitive, or you send a file as an attachment on the chat message. Now, today's security tools are blind to that kind of traffic because it's happening on the application, not on your network, right? So that's where Netskope comes in, and that's where SSE comes in. So in the CASB part of product line, we analyze, we visualize all the activities that are happening in the cloud applications or internet applications, and you have complete control to allow or block those kind of activities. For example, sharing on Teams, sharing any sensitive data on Teams, or OneDrive, sharing something from a corporate or official OneDrive instance to a personal Gmail or a personal OneDrive instance, all those things. So if you look at the picture, there are multiple use cases that we take care of. And one of the use cases is advanced threat protection and data protection. Of course, we all want to secure ourselves. Think about a scenario like SDC, where we talk about zero trust network access, where people have to access the internal resources based on zero trust without exposing the network to the user. Today, when you talk about a VPN-based access, it is actually extending the network, your network, to the user wherever the user is. But zero trust network access talks about connecting user to the application, but not the network completely. Now, on the visibility side of things, if you see, talk about something like a SOC, right? In order to analyze and do the forensic investigations, visibility is one of the most important points that we need to take care of. So Netskope also serves as a visibility point of product, where you can have complete visibility of what is happening over the internet side of things, over the application side of things, or the internal side of things, right? And then, of course, minimize risk and surface area. When we talk about zero trust network access, we are talking about completely isolating the user from the network. So even when I'm accessing my internal application in my data center or cloud data center, I'm not actually connecting to that network. I'm actually connecting to only the application without any inbound exposure on my network, right? And then on the bottom side, if you see the circle, the half circle bottom, Netskope borderless WAN. Talk about something like a SWAN or SWAN 2.0, the refresh of the SWAN, where you have to achieve borderless many-to-many connectivity. It can be user to branch, user to data center, or branch to branch, data center to data center. It can in fact be a cloud to a cloud talking between each other. So all this combined into a single platform, formulated into a single user agent that can handle all these things, all these capabilities, wherever the user is, whatever device the user is using, right? So, and if you look at the inside of the picture where you have threat protection, data protection, risk management, so all these capabilities extend to all the products that we spoke about, all the capabilities that we spoke about. So any kind of good data going out is blocked. Any kind of bad things coming inside, like a malicious payload or a threat vector, is blocked, right? So this complete solution is handled by the single agent, and it can support multiple devices, like a unmanaged device or a managed device as well. So if you think about any department that we talk about in the government today, right? SDC, smart city, healthcare, police, defense. Ultimately, there is some kind of risk when we access the internet, when we use this flexibility of the internet, and SSE helps us to connect these end users or devices to the applications or the destinations. And so we have a booth outside, and we'll welcome you to explore more. Of course, it's a 10-minute presentation, so I'll be able to give a very high-level view. But if you find this interesting, we'll be glad to host you on the booth and explain further. Thanks a lot for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now to do the honors, I would request Mr. Munish Chandan, Head SEMT Haryana, to please present the memento to Mr. Lov Vashisht. Can we please have you here on stage, sir? And once again, ladies and gentlemen,